Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Conoger here. Welcome back to Automation, the car company tycoon game. Last time we started to engineer the XSC, which is to be our entry-level sports car for Vector to try and help our company get through this really rough economy we are currently in. We really need these numbers to start being up here again before we can really start to sell a lot of supercars again. Ever. We would like to sell a lot of supercars, or at least have a very successful supercar. We haven't yet had one of those. The X2 has currently sold 503, and it is, let's take a look at it. I don't know that I did. It is currently having a demand of 0.63 to 1, so really not doing fantastic. I'll probably actually have to turn down its markup even a bit more, which is unfortunate. So if we went down to say -30, we would at least have more demand than production, and I only see that getting worse as time goes on here. The XSC is halfway through its engineering. Actually, it's nearly done. Currently, we have two different trims of this car serving two different purposes. The tangent for now, the exponent for later, and as of right now the demands are looking a little bit low, but we have the shifts up pretty high. We could potentially mark them down or just reduce the shifts. As of right now, I need to reduce the production split of the exponent down to basically its minimum. Barely produce any of those. And then yes, we will reduce the shifts down as well. Let's get that down to 1. And then we'll increase this. There we go. That'll work. That will work just fine. And the X2, I would say, has another two-ish years of selling, really, in its repertoire. It might have upwards of 4. But what we should be doing now is using our remaining $1.8 billion to get ready to replace the X2. Get ready for the year 2000. We need to be rolling out our new hypercar. So our smaller car is based off of this body. I'm thinking our hypercar should probably be based off of this body because it's similar. The other option would be this one. Well, although this is a super Lamborghini looking body, I think it actually is a little bit more to the modern cutting edge, and it does fit in pretty well. So yeah, let's go for this one. Let's see what I could do with this body to maybe make it look a little less Lamborghini, if possible. There's not too much I can do. Maybe I can do something with the fixtures though. And let's see, chassis-wise, I want to go pretty crazy with this car. So we may do some different things with it. We're pretty experienced with the monocoque chassis in steel. And carbon fiber chassis has some really, really good attributes to it, but it's the engineering time that scares me away from it. So we might just stick to a steel monocoque chassis with this one as well. It's going to be transverse because we need the room for a bigger engine. And double wishbone front and rear. Fiberglass is our norm, but we want to have really good prestige on this. And a carbon fiber body is not as bad on engineering time. So to begin with, I'm going to try a path of doing a carbon fiber body on this. Trying to future-proof this thing a little bit. Oh god, that thing looks pissed. The headlights are very low, and I know that's not like to some kind of standard of production in this era, but I don't care. It looks cool. And we're not restrained to such things in this playthrough, so I don't particularly care about it. It's a little ridiculous looking with these headlights. But ridiculous is good. It is a hypercar after all. Alright, that's a little better. It's still angry looking, but not as ridiculous looking. So that I'm a little bit more pleased with. Car has these cool adjustable like side vent things. I'm trying to figure out how to get a vent in there properly. Not that way. Maybe that way. That might do it. Bit of angle. Alright, I give up. I don't understand, so I'm just going to put a Negaduck in there and call it good. Alright, I think we're looking pretty late 90s, early 2000s hypercar now. First car with a big wing on the back of it. That'll be a company first, if you will. I also am trying to keep the car somewhat thematically correct in its parts bin-ness, so it looks like a combination of off-the-shelf parts slapped onto a car to give it an appearance, and I think it pulls off that look quite well. Alright, so moving on. So let's do this in, how about like a burnt orange color? Can we get that color in there? Ooh, that was close. I had it and I lost it. There we go. That's good. I can deal with that. Got a little glossier. And it'll be transverse rear-wheel drive. All-wheel drive probably not ready for that just yet. But we never know. We can return to it. So this would be the X3 axis. Engine-wise. Alright, here we go. Gotta be a little creative and a little crazy on this one, I think. But I don't want it to be the most, you know, high-tech over engineering time engine in the world. How about a 4.7 liter, so a little bit larger, dual overhead cam, 4 valves per cylinder, very short stroked engine. I want this thing to be high revving, and I will be using Forge Works for the first time. So we're gonna do forged RPM average, so cast versus forged isn't really a big deal. I-beam steel is how you get the RPM. We'll do it. And forged pistons, that's a high RPM, so that should be good. We're of course going to need quality down there, and probably lots of it. We actually have our quality points to spend now, our free ones from our R&D work. I'm going to say probably 11-ish compression ratio, and a very aggressive cam. VVT, probably not necessary for this engine, to be honest. Let's put it on the intake and see what it does. Oh, we don't want chrome. Can we get that orange? That'd be great. Orange enough. And quality up here as well, including our free ones. Well, let's do NA to begin with. I'll come back to turbo if I need to, but if we can make like 500 horsepower with this thing, then I'd be happy. Engine is now too big to fit in the car. A little bit smaller, apparently. I think we can only go up to super fuel. If we go to ultimate, I believe it won't be available in our region, if I remember correctly. So we'll do ultimate there, which should be available. We can go to 12.25 to 1. And we'll get the timing up. Let's shoot for an 8,000. No, that's not gonna happen. Let's do for 7,500. Let's see if we can get to there. And exhaust, we'll do long tubulars, duals, probably in that range. Yeah, that should be good. High flow cat, straight through and none. A little bit of quality there. 459 out of the box and a very green reliability. That is good. We need this car to score very well in reliability. Engineering time 131. It's pretty high, but not undoable, I think. So the max we can get through here is 498 horsepower, so that would be about where we want to be. All the way up to 12.1 on the compression ratio, 469 horsepower, 374 foot-pounds of torque. I suppose it all depends on how much this car weighs, how much power we need, and I don't really know what that's going to be just yet. Should be pretty light with the carbon fiber body. But I think this is a much larger car than I've produced in the past, so I'm not quite sure. I could get more RPM out of it and have a little bit of overrun on it, which would be nice. The only thing we're starting to run into issues with is valve float, but it's really not getting too terribly bad just yet. Boy, long tube or race tube headers really gives it a huge bump in horsepower. No mass production and average engineering time. Well, let's do the long tubes. And it is 131. Race, 133. So not too much worse for a pretty healthy boost in horsepower. Let's roll with that for now. This is a cross-plane V8, not a flat plane. So a high revving, high horsepower, 4.7 liter cross-plane V8. That should be pretty sporty. Sounds good, pretty high strung, but usable down low, so it's not unstreetable. We'll have to keep in mind the gearing and have probably more gears than usual, and make sure they're good and spread out. Or actually good and close together, not spread out. Alright, let's do a quick build through here. We're already in the no mass production phase, so we'll go ahead and do handmade interior. These guys like the luxury and comfort, so we'll keep that stuff high. And we move on to suspension. We should be getting a score here shortly. That'll be good. Adaptive dampers, that's new. We'll give it that. And passive sway bars. What do you know? Oversteer. I'm so shocked. I'm amazed. Scoring very well with no markup, but of course we'll have to see how that goes when we add the markup into there. And let's get this thing to probably not be a death machine. Be pretty good. Alright, there we go. There seems to be an initial happy medium where it will understeer somewhat safely and still handle really well. What I'm curious about, 3,000 pounds. See, it is quite a bit heavier than the previous cars. That's an era thing. Cars of the late 2000s, or sorry, late 90s, early 2000s, did indeed get much heavier. 11.5 miles per gallon. It's not a fuel sipper either. 197.5 miles an hour. Let's see if we can get that to 200. That'd be a nice number to hit. 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. So it is, all in all, a hypercar. There's no questioning that. But maybe a little bit tuning can get us even better. Score! Just took some aero off of the rear and put a little bit more on the nose. Not only did it make it handle better, but it also got our top speed to 200 miles per hour. Which is just, even if it's not in the game as a prestige thing, for me, it's a prestige thing. I'm really going to look down into the nitty-gritties here of the detailed stats and see if I can find anything that we could maybe improve upon, though. Chassis stiffness is negative 6.5%. That's probably because of our steel monocoque. To go carbon fiber monocoque is probably just too expensive. I might just take a look at it, though. Basically, no major drawbacks in Prestige, and Prestige is scoring very, very well, so that's good. I think that's the only thing I really want to look at, is to go to the chassis and put it on carbon fiber. Engineering time is extremely high. I highly doubt I will be able to do this, like, be able to produce this car. But I'm just curious how it changes the scoring on it. How does it change the weight of the car, too? It brought it down 500 pounds. So a ton of weight lost in that. However, it also makes it super expensive. Actually makes it more expensive than virtually any other cars in its field, even though it's far more competitive than any of the cars in its field. So yeah, its desirability is now 6,000 to 4,000 versus its best competitor. There's only one competitor in this class right now, 3 in Super, and it's way, way better than those. So it's pretty extremely up there. But, again, we need to sell this thing at like a 200% markup at least. It's there, and it now has more competitors in Hyper because they're in that price range. And it's there, it's just a little bit more expensive than those. 250,000. So let's pull that back off. Let's go to steel. And look at the difference. With the same markup, 81. So yeah, definitely gonna have to go with the steel body on that one. For sure. Took off quite a chunk of change. And I'm pretty happy with that. It's very competitive for its class, which is hurting at the moment due to the economy. So that's all looking pretty positive. somewhere down the line, the little changes I've been making have made it oversteery again, so we'll have to undo that. But as far as a hyper and luxury premium car go, it's doing pretty well at a 200% markup, which is nice. Well, score-wise, this car is phenomenal. Performance-wise, this car is phenomenal. The question is, can we sell enough of them at a high enough price to make it profitable? That is the question. So we have $1.8 billion to use, and I'm predicting we're basically not going to be losing or gaining any money from here on out through the next decade or so. So if we spend all of that on this car, that is fine. So let's go ahead and look through this stuff. Chassis, 6 years, 9 months. That's about what I expected. Engine, 9 years. I've got to figure out why the engines take so long to engineer. I understand we put Forge Works and things like that on this one, but I don't see 9 years in it. That is a little crazy. It's a cross-plane V8 with not, crazy overhead cam setup. It's a dual overhead cam setup, 4 valves per cylinder. It's just a little off to me, like the extremeness of it. Oh, I can't hire myself. I'm already working. That's fine. We won't be able to produce this car yet. Anyway, I was just kind of curious. So we would have to... let's see. To get me on this engine, I would have to be done working on the other one. That would be another 2 years. That'd probably be too long. It'd probably not be worth it. Maximum funding on the engine brings it down to 8 years. We can pull funding away from the chassis since, basically, it's not going to help. Now, another issue is we won't have factories. I think we're at our maximum for factories producing the 2 cars in them. So, that's... yeah, we basically can't do anything with this car until we cancel production on the X2, which is a little bit of a bummer. I think you should be able to engineer it before you have room in the factory. That would only make sense to me. But as of right now, we can't really do that. Well, let's just say we bought a different plot and a different factory set up for this one. Leave those 50 and leave those 50. Factory does not meet requirements. Well, why can't we get it? I would like to add on the Forge Works. Why can't I do that? Is it because it's tiny? Does it need to be... small or something? I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand why I can't get Forge Works on this one. Because I could certainly get it in my other factories. Doesn't make a lick of sense to me. Warning, engine factory cannot meet demand. Well, yeah, because it can't produce it at all. Is it confused? Alright, don't ask me why, but I now own a tiny one that can't do anything, and a small one that can. Oh, maybe we had room on the tiny plot for another one? I have no idea what's going on at this point. I just wanted to see if this was at all feasible or not. And the car is 6.9, engine 6.9. It's actually matched perfectly as of right now with 2.8 shifts. We don't really want 2.8 shifts, nor do we probably want that many cars anyway. Alright, let's look at these last screens here. Again, still scoring very well with a 200% base markup. It's actually maybe a little bit better looking than it was before. And how would we be doing? We'd be producing far too many of them, which means we could either mark them up or produce less. Personally, I would prefer to mark them up. Oh wait, no. Oh, we'd be producing far too many of them. I had that all backwards. We'd have to produce them. We'd either have to produce less or charge less for them. We don't want to charge less for them. We want to produce less of them. So 0.63 would be with the minimum shifts. That's alright, and we'd probably lower the price in Fuenia, just because we know the market there is smaller, so we want to just sell as many as we can there. Oof. Oh, my spleen. Ouch. Oh, God. This is horrible. The break even on this would be 2031. It would take 344 months to break even on it, just because there is zero market for this car right now. So in the realm of what the financial breakdown is right now, it just looks terrible. Like there's absolutely no reason to build this car right now. We would have to be betting on the fact that in 2002 the market would be really good, charge way more for it, and sell way more of them. It's a gamble. It is a gamble. How much would it currently cost? Grand total 1.2 billion. There's actually room in that budget then. It's not going to bankrupt us to do this. So we could currently buy a new factory to produce this in, to keep production going on the X2 for as long as we possibly can, and hope to not lose our market awareness with it. Yeah, what the hell? Why not? Let's do it. Things you shouldn't say while running your company. So now we're currently engineering 2 different cars at once. We really need to hope that the XSC makes at least a little bit of a profit, or we're going to be screwed. But let's see. Let's go for a year. You know, the X2 is actually not doing too terrible. It made a decent amount of profit there. It's making, what, about 4.5 million is that a year? I think that's a year. So it's at least helping offset some of the cost we're having into the engineering of the 2 cars. Overall, we still lost $343 million that year, but I think we need to do that. We have to take that risk to turn the company around. We're going to keep going here. I'm going to keep this going until the XSC is well into production, at least like a year or so. So let's keep going. Well, let me adjust things accordingly. So revise on this one. Let's see how it looks. We currently have more demand than production, so let's up the cost of it just a little bit. Try and make a little bit more per car. We'll keep going for another year. No, we're coming up on the production, aren't we? 96, 95. No, we'll go for a year. That was actually somewhat encouraging there. The prestige continues to go up. Our reputation continues to falter, but that is what it is. There's not much I can do about that as of right now. But what I'm liking is that the money isn't just completely draining out of the company right now. We have influx of money. It's not huge. We only made 2.2 billion or million that time, but it's at least helping cover some of the costs. Okay, so now I need to adjust this one again. Let's do that, as we currently have 0 stock on them. Yeah, demand is through the roof. So economy might be doing better. We'll take a look at it. We'll get our markup back to the full 200%. And we'll take a look at the XSC. See how it would be doing. Quite well. No need for any adjustment there. I'm happy with that. Alright, we'll be getting into the production of that guy. Let's look at the economy. It's on the upward swing still. Nice. That's what we wanted to see. Just please stay on the upward swing. The last thing we need is another little dive, which historically doesn't seem to happen very often. So we'll hope. Although there's never been a crash like this in the entire history of this market. So who knows? Who knows? Awareness continues to improve, 51% in hyper. That's why we need to get this X3 going ASAP. If we can get that awareness up to like 100%, then we'll have a lot easier time selling these hypercars. Continuing on. There it goes. It is canceled. So we can no longer produce that car. So we have extras. But now we should be starting into production of the XSC. Yes, we are. Alright. Losing much less money now because we're only engineering 1 car. And we'll take a look at how the initial sales in the XSC look. And how long do we have? Oh, it's going to be a long time still. so long. We'll have to hope that the XSC holds a little bit of our prestige. Probably not, but we'll hope. Pause everything here. We're down to 1 billion. We need to, let's go ahead and sell this stuff off. We don't need any of these X1s. And we won't need any of these X2s. There we go. Those are out of the picture. At least they're out of the way. So my initial thoughts were that we would be selling a lot of tangents initially, and then hopefully exponents after that. However, it appears that maybe the economy has come around in a way because we're selling quite a few more exponents than expected. So let's increase production on those to a whopping 4 per month. And we're not selling as many tangents as I would like. Alright, so we'll scale the production back to our normal expected range. Or, sorry, not production, the cost back to our normal expected, and we'll not mark it up any. And we'll see how that goes. God damn it. Let's just say this has never happened. Well, hopefully it's just a little bobble, and we'll head back up soon. Oh, that's not good for us, though. I mean, it's good that we're producing the cheaper car. If we had just kept making the supercars, or hypercars, we'd be really screwed. Oh, buddy. Sales just went up big time. Did the economy do anything? I guess we get yearly updates there. Production, XSC. It seems like we ran through our stock pretty quick there. We did. So let's just produce more at the current price and whatnot. All right. Looking good, looking good. We're only losing 97 million per year now. That's let me calculate. We would be able to lose that for another 10 years. We would at least be able to get into production on our X3 for quite some time at that point. So that's good. Right before the X3 goes into production, I would say maybe the year 2000, we would like to produce the replacement for the XSC if we have the money to do that. It's not looking great as of right now, but it's possible. Let's let it go for one more year, and then we'll call it an episode. Alright, again, another year, negative 92 million, so that seems to be the rate that we're going to have through this car's production. Let's pause. Come on, economy. Ugh. Come on, you're killing me, game. Absolutely killing me here. This playthrough was not meant to be. We're gonna make it to the year 2000. That was, I mean, 20 years is a long time. But it's not looking great for another decade or so. We'll see. We will see. Market? Oh, it's still shrinking. Awareness? Hey, we're gaining awareness now in track premium. And we're still looking pretty good in the hyper. Although, to be honest, that might go back to 30 by the time we're done. Sales. Selling all the track premiums you could possibly sell. Selling really good in Light Sport premium. Overall, pretty good. Pretty good. Alright, well that will do it for today. It will be interesting here. Next time will either be the episode before we go bankrupt or the episode we go bankrupt. It will be one or the other, I have a feeling. So we're just going to have to keep trying to ride this train and see how it goes. Hope that the economy turns around and the exponent starts to sell. We make more money per year and that the X3 is a hit. We have to hope all of these things. So get to hoping, people. Thanks as always for watching, and I will see you next time.